Good afternoon and warm welcome to the Bergs Kapitalmarknadsdag. A warm welcome to you in the auditorium and a warm welcome also to you on the web. It's actually the first time in 102 years, so it's not that regular, this type of capital markets events for Bergs at the moment. My name is Dan Zettervall and I will be moderator today. One important purpose of today's program is to tell you more about the activities that are conducted within Bergs. Bergs is historically known as a sawmill company, but there is so much more going on in Bergs today that we would like to share with you. Sawmill operations is something most people can relate to, and where you understand what comes in and what comes out in terms of finished products. But what is wood protection, and what is the business under the term joinery? How do we add value in extended processing and development? In addition to CEO Peter Nilsson and CFO Anders Marklund, we are fortunate to have three more knowledgeable people here with us today, who will each give us an orientation and in-depth look at different parts of the business in Bergs. We have, for instance, Johnny Andersson from the subsidiary Bitus, who will talk about joint protection. We have Walt Kurpnieks from the subsidiary Bicolat, and Jay Penduley, who represents the PTP group and will give us an insight into the market for windows and doors in the premium segment. Briefly about the program. These are the topics that we will cover today. Peter will talk about the group and the strategy, and we will present details of the product area wood protection, followed by coffee at about 3 o'clock, followed by a presentation of the joinery segment. Peter will return and talk about sawn wood. We will talk about sustainability and the financial details from Anders. And Peter will come back at the end and make a summary of the presentation. The overall presentation will be presented on the corporate web afterwards. And with this, I leave the floor to Peter Nilsson, who will introduce himself and talk about the overall strategy and the way forward. Please, Peter.
Thank you, Don. I don't need this one, I hope. So my name is Peter Nilsson, and I've been in the sawmilling and the wood trade, I would say longer than I can remember. I was actually born into it. And the last 8 years with Bergs, and it's really nice to stay here today and to tell you a little bit more, Stan explain what we're doing. There's no really big news, but at least we will try to educate you or tell you a bit how we're going to do things. But I need to start to look back, because history is, in some ways, it is important. And the company is more than 100 years. It started with Mr. Fabian Berg in deep Småland. And it started with sawmills, and actually one sawmill. It was a movable sawmill, and they started to help farmers in the area. And then it grew, and then very successfully was performing, and in 1984 it became a public company in Stockholm. It's a long time, as soon as 40 years as public company. And then it was acquired. They acquired a few more sawmills, and When I started, we acquired actually 3 sawmills in the same areas. We were, at that time, quite an important player in the southeast of Småland, or Sweden, with sawmilling. In 2018, we acquired Norvik, an Icelandic company from the beginning, their operations in the Baltics and in the UK, and by that the company became more than double size. So we came from revenue of 500 million up to about 3 billion in quite a short time. We acquired the Fågelfors pellet mill, and then we made a deep study of the sawmills in Sweden, I mean our sawmills. And it has been volatile, some very good years and some not so good. And we could see that it required a lot of investments, and at the same time we had ideas for how to develop the wood protection, joinery and the rest, and we want to do more things. And so we evaluated the situation and we came to the conclusion that it was not realistic to do both at the same time. And then we have the option to sell the Swedish sawmills, and so we did. And that's about 2 years ago now. And then we adopted the new strategy and we communicated it, and we've started to do quite some investments, and we have also acquired the English door and window company distributor, as we're going to tell a lot more about later today. That's brief. I mean, we can talk a lot about 100 years, but that's the main events as I can see them. The current structure is we have 8 independent companies, not independent, but they are acting decentralized. With 9 manufacturer sites, we have about close to 1,000 employees. And net sales, here we are now talking about the first 9 months this year, and it's 2.3 billion SEK. So you can say that this year it's roughly 3 billion revenue, and EBITDA is close to 400 so far up to September. And I would not say anything about the full year, but that is up to this September. And net debt to EBITDA is about 0.5. And if we take the company profile, now we talk about the listed bergs or Bergs Timber, and it owns and develops wood processing companies. So it is a very small organization in the listed company. And it is clearly decentralized in all, I would say, most effects, and it has its independent balance sheet, profit and loss responsibility, I should say profit responsibility. We are reporting in 3 main parts, and that's wood protection, joinery and sawnwood. And we are focused, of course, on margins, that's the main. But we see a big potential for growth, both organically and of course with acquisitions. Guiding principles, it is, again, I'm coming back to this, again, decentralized business units, entrepreneurship, extremely important for us. We like to be entrepreneurs, and we are sort of helping each one to act like entrepreneurs. And that means that we also need to do it simple and fast. Of course, we need to continuously develop things. But then we are not specifically talking a lot of how we are creating, synergies between the companies. It is more to let people to meet and interact and to find each other and to develop, and that in itself is creating synergies, but we're not measuring it. And when you have read and we have made acquisitions, we don't talk a lot about synergies. But of course there are synergies, but we are not. That is not the main. It will come by itself, as I can see it, by this way of guiding principles. Here we are the products we are addressing, and maybe to simplify things, but 4 or 5 years ago it should have been maybe one picture. And now we are into doors and windows. It's cladding. Decking is very important. Different kinds, you will hear a lot about that later. Pellets, garden products, a lot of different kinds. Heat logs, furnitures, different kinds as well, you will see. And aftermarket sales and guidance is gradually getting more and more important. And also the house side of the company. And this is not how we organize it, but it is how we are reporting in these product groups. And as you can see, wood protection is by far the largest one. And then we have joinery, and sawn wood, and energy and logistics. And the growth side is mainly in wood protection and joinery. And I would say that joinery may be even the most. Sawn wood, we don't. There will always be some growth, maybe, but we are not. I would say this will, in a few years' time, it will be far less than 33%. So that's mainly to keep up with productivity and do some improvements. Energy and logistics, that is pellets, which is what we acquired in the Fogelfors and also a little bit in Latvia. There we can see some potential of improvements, and the market are improving, but it's not core, and we are evaluating how good it fits in Bergs. And logistics, that's mainly the port in UK, Creek Sea, which it's a nice asset, but we don't need it. And we're not looking to buy more ports, but we will see what will happen with it, basically. But it is performing roughly as we have expected it to do. Here is our areas, and we have the production here. A lot of small sites in the UK as well. It's done here with the production, and we have in Latvia, there is 2 dots missing. And then it's Estonia, in Pärnu, the sawmill. And the main markets, that is UK, Sweden, not to forget about Iceland, France, Germany, Holland, Denmark, but this is our main area today. And I would hope that we would have some more production units, maybe increase the area, but this is today's picture. Wood is gaining market shares. I think I've said that for as long as I can remember. But now I think I can say that now it is true. And it has to do with, we are working more with designers and architects, and this is not just Bergs, it's in general. We have been able to get more products which is long durability, it's life cycle. We have fire protection. There is a lot of innovation with gluing and actually building systems, methods, which allows wood to be a really competitive alternative for high storage buildings, even for halls, shops, etc. And that has not been the case. That has gradually come the last, I would say, 5 to 8 years. So this is absolutely taking market shares. And then we have the fact that wood is actually a renewable and sustainable building material, and it stores CO2 for as long as a building stands. But then I'm also aware of the discussions about harvesting and etc. But looking at wood in itself, and that is not questioned by anyone. This is long lasting. So that's why we take market shares. Here is some nice examples of what is possible to create with wood, not just small buildings or terrace boards. And it is actually multi-high buildings, and you can see. Now I'm moving into the part which is more as it is today, and talking about the short-term pricing, etc. And here I'm talking about pricing for wood, and in a way it reflects how it goes for about 1/3 of our company, but it also reflects quite a lot on the results for the wood protection. And I think most of you are looking at this US lumber prices. It is future pricing. It's not today's, it is future, because that's the only available pricing, official pricing in the world. And as you can see, it has been very flat for 10 years. And then we had this huge spike after the COVID outbreak, and was in a way quite unexpected, but so it went. And then it came down as rapidly, more or less. And now we can see it's moving up again. And we had mid-week prices yesterday, and that was a plus, about 15% again. So it's a clear upward trend, and it's several reasons for that. It's less production, there is a good demand. So the expectation is moving upwards. Here is prices in Sweden and Finland. It's not the same official, this is what has been. And we can see it followed the US pricing, it's on its way down. But in my opinion, we will see something similar as we have seen with the US pricing, but at what level, we just have to wait and see. And this is also a fact that construction in Europe, it is still increasing. And we can see the expectations for next year, it's quite good growth. And that in combination with less sawmilling production, as we can see from both in Scandinavia and Germany and Canada, should stabilize the lumber prices at the new level next year, of course. I find this one very interesting. It's the price for concrete, it's for steel. This is long, it's 40 years. And we can see that steel has been coming up. Sawnwood has been very flat. But now finally it came up. And looking at sustainability compared to the other material, the not lack but the limitation of wood, and that demand is strong and it's increasing. I'm quite positive to where this will end, even if we are coming down a little bit again. So then, to summarize the outlook for the market, this is in short term. So we have a continuous good positive demand for wood products. Prices for sawnwood will find a new level. We have to see where exactly, but I think I gave you my impression of what will happen. Looking at base, we have strong order books for next year. We are doors and windows, garden product, and wood protection. It's really better than it has been for some years, still for next year. And we are expecting some good contribution for the investments we have done this year and even next year. So this is how I see the situation today and the summarize of the strategy. So some question on this first part, please. Maybe Don has prepared something.
Yes, I have a few questions, and I would also like to encourage the viewers on the web that we have a live chat, that you are able to put questions there as well. So please go ahead there. But very interesting facts about the price statistics and so on. Reading newspapers and following the market, you get the impression from the media and analysts that sort of the price rally that has been during the 2021 has been rather unique, and that rally is more or less over. You don't feel confident about that in the same way. Would you like to comment on that?
No, of course I agree with that. It has been a rally and that prices has come down. It's just to look at the graphs. But then coming back to the situation with steel and concrete, I mean, wood has been behind in the pricing and has been relatively cheap building material. And now with this market trend for more sustainable products and gaining market shares, I'm of the opinion that it will. I don't think we are coming back to where we were before this very nice increases. It will find a new level, but I would not even.
You sound optimistic.
I am optimistic, and I've not always been optimistic, but I'm really optimistic.
In terms of wood as gaining market shares towards other construction materials. That has also been said for some time. Do you see more clear evidence of that now?
Yeah, it is a fact that we have provided the market with products which is good for again going high heights. It is we are better in there is better colors used. It's less maintenance. We have the protection of fire, and that has regulated so that it's allowed to use wood in many more new applications.
And I remember it's only 15 or 20 years ago then it was no longer when it was not permitted to build higher than 2 stories, and that has dramatically changed, right?
Yeah, I mean today it's quite. I would not say maybe common everywhere, but it's no problem to build 10 stores. And there is 20, even looking at more. So this is fact, and it's the same in like big halls. It is made out of wood in an increasing amount.
Great. I know that you have more to say after the other presentations, so we will hear more from Peter, both in terms of presenting sawn wood, but also in the end of the program. And with that, I think we thank you for this session, and we can present our next speaker, who is Jonny Andersson. And I think it's better that you introduce yourself.
Okay, thanks.
The floor is yours.
Hello. I'm Johnny Andersson. I'm head of sales and purchase of Bitus, the daughter company in Sweden. This is a picture of the site in Nybro, which is one of the largest at one place treatment plants in Europe. As Peter said, he has been in the trade for more years than he remembered. I'm not that far behind. I have been in the trade since 1992 and been with Bergs for the last 5 years. So I'm going to speak a little bit about wood protection. And to start with, Bergs is one of the largest producers of wood protection in Europe. We have sites in Sweden, in Latvia, and in UK. So to start with, what is wood protection? And for me, it's a way to create wood products suitable for the purpose. And what to mean with that is, we need to adapt to add things. We need to add structure, we need to add durability, we need to add colors. We will speak more about that later on. So there is different ways of doing the wood protection. The most common, which you probably all of you have been in contact with, is the NTR treated wood or similar international standards. That's the product that is most used for outdoor construction, for your deck boards. You find it in the building merchant. It's painted cladding, which is in this case industrial painted for outdoor use. It's the Linax that we call, which is the Bergs' own brand name. It's a double treated product that you first do an NTR treatment and then you boil it in linseed oil. I will show you a movie later on that will show that process. Fire protection. Bergs offering an organic treatment for fire protection. That will also be more in detail later on. And of course there is also other alternatives of wood protection like thermowood, organowood, or natural like Siberian larch or so on. That is by nature more sustainable for roof protection. So what is the benefits? It gives a long durability. It adds aesthetic values like texture, like colors. We also use very well tested process that guarantees that the product is and all the ingredients that we are using is well tested and well documented. It's cost effective and it saves time at the building process. This is a small sample of the various applications for wood protection. So it's anything from posts and beams that can be used for garden and for fencing use to garden products, furnitures, nice pool decks and outdoor claddings. This is just a flavor of what can be done. So what we do at Bergs is that we contribute with technology, with know-how and expertise. And we develop this together with our customers and with the architects, institutes, local authorities and other stakeholders that has an interest in this. On this picture I would like to point out the house on the top left, which is in Hovås in Gothenburg, and it's an award-winning design prize for wooden construction office building. And it's used the Linax treatment together with the glulam beams. It's a really nice house. And Also down the right side, we have the roofing on something called Villa Winterthun that was on one of the television shows in Sweden recently. So it's a way to use also cladding on roofing, not only on the walls. So, speaking about the process, first of all, it's important to say that the process is totally in line with the regulations and our environmental goals. And it's an ongoing responsibility to work with this and try to develop also the process to be as cost-effective and environmentally friendly as possible. And the business is also under supervision of regulatory bodies, so we have regulatory controls several times a year. So this is the movie of production. First, you see the site in Nybro. Our electrical powered forklift pick up the wood, taking it to the first autoclave. As you see, we have the sticks between each layer to make sure that the liquid reach all four sides. It goes in. It will be put. This is the, as I said, this is the Linux production. So, first step here is to do the NTR, standard treated. Comes out green, wet. Will be transported into the Linux treatment autoclave. It's secured. It's tilted to make sure that all extra oil is disappearing, and it's getting boiled in linseed oil under vacuum. It takes a couple of hours, and then it comes out. This is the brown color, and the product is ready for use. Some other, I think, great examples of how the product can be used in different applications. Speaking more about the Linux, as I said in the beginning, this is our brand name and our prime product with a double treatment. This specific picture is private housing in Vetlanda in Småland that has used the Linux cladding outside. So what is Linux? As we see it, is a very sustainable choice. It's a great choice also for decking, for cladding, as we said, both on the roof, which is a little bit new thing to use wooden roofing, cladding, normal cladding on the walls, and furnitures. It comes with a very high aesthetic value. It's long maintenance intervals. You need to put oil maybe every 5-6 years instead of every year. It offers a very long service guarantee, up to 50 years protection of rot guarantee. Come with different colors. And we see a very strong demand in this product, so it has enabled us to triple the capacity from 2021 to 2023. So what the Linux offering currently comes with 3 colors. It's brown, it's natural, and it's gray. This is the current situation, and of course we are working closely with the customers, closely with the architects and others to see if we should add colors, how we can redo the building, if we can add to make it easier to use. So we are in constant development of the product in combination with our raw material supply and our production site to maximize the possibilities. Then, as Peter also mentioned, we do the fire protection, and we have in principle, maintenance-free impregnation that protects wood and delay the spread of fire. And here it's important to focus on that. It delays the fire. It gives a lot of increased use cases of wood for residential buildings, higher heights, and so on, that we can use outdoor cladding made of wood on high houses. And that goes very well hand in hand with what the market is, the way the market is going. The product reached the highest protection class possible for wood products. And we see a very strong demand in the market. It's growing quickly for safe and sustainable products. I also have a picture here describing how you do fire protection. I will not go in detail with this, but if anyone has a specific interest, I'm happy to explain it either in the coffee break or afterwards. So, summarizing what is the drivers for wood protection. And first and strong, we see the very quickly increasing interest from architects for designs, for how to use it in new applications. Goes hand in hand with renewable building material. We also see that the governments in various countries is putting regulations on how to use, how much wood should be used, where it should be used, especially for sustainability and fire protected products. And we also see from the customers that it's highly required that we have wood products that require minimum maintenance. So, summarize it, we are very, very optimistic for the future, and with the Linux, the fire protection, and the overall signs we see in the market. So, great future for wood protection.
Thank you, Johnny. I have some thoughts about this. It's very interesting to hear, but in terms of durability, we talk a lot about that. Could you give some example of how long the wood is lasting longer with wood protection or rather without it?
Absolutely. I mean, some applications would be completely impossible to use without wood protection.
For instance?
If you make for example, you build a nice deck board around your swimming pool and you have not treated boards, that will probably last for a year.
Okay.
And maybe 2. It will not look very good either. And with this, it will last with wood protection, depending on what kind you do. But if you do the standard NTR, it will probably, without the guarantees, for 20 years. It will probably last for more. Mm-hmm. And if you go for the Linux, for example, where we're offering for cladding up to 50 years guarantee of protection. Yeah. So and big difference.
And the customers are ready to pay this extra premium price. And in terms of the long run, is it a good affair for the clients to?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting. In terms of Linux, how long have you been doing that product and marketing that as a unique brand for within Beatus?
Beatus has produced Linux for more than 10 years.
Okay.
It's a process that is. A lot of the production is done in Norway, and it has been a product in Norway for many, many years. So the market there is very big. Mm-hmm. And we see now with the increased request for durability, for long life cycle, and so on, that the demand in Sweden and other countries in Europe as well, that is coming quickly. Mm-hmm. And so the product is not new, but the growth has increased rapidly over the last do
you have any competition in terms of this double process wood treatment?
Of course, there is competition from Norway. There is one other producer in Sweden, but I think we have to see that we want to move the use of protected wood to a higher level.
Yeah.
So it's not so that the market will be too small. It's more to move from
Make it
basic
easy
to more and more higher added value products.
I think we have some questions from the audience. Would you?
Yes. Hi. So what is the capacity of this Beatus fab today? Do you have capacity to, given that you tripled your production of Linux, how large can you go?
We measure the capacity in cubic meters, so it will increase from 5 to 15.
And where do you see the most potential for this? Is that Sweden, Norway, or is it even Germany, France, UK? Where is the future?
We see the first priority is the Swedish market, but we have a big interest from our UK daughter companies or sister companies to develop it there, where decking is a very big product in the UK. So we are very optimistic about that. Denmark, Germany, so there will be a lot of export coming as well for this product.
Any other questions from the audience? Good. Thank you very much, John.
Okay, thank you.
And with that, we will present our next speaker, and that is Valts Kuperniec.
Hello.
And I think also Valts has some can add some European perspective on that last question as well in terms of demands. So
sure.
Please, the floor is yours.
So, I'm talking to speak more about wood protection and Bergs from our side, from Latvia production. I am representing company Bicolat, which joined Bergs Group 2018. We have 2 production sites and 4 business lines. Started 1993 and from scratch in very old, straight after the Baltic independency, in old Soviet buildings, and many people from that time still with us. So we have a really great, experienced team there. So as mentioned, 4 business lines: woodworking, which is we are not sawmill, we are a planing mill, with similarities with Beatus. Again, with different products, about 70% treated, doors and windows, garden products, and house production. I will mention later on. So, a prime mover in wood protection. As Joni mentioned, we are one of the largest supplier together with productions in Sweden, Latvia, and UK. We are working together with all our many customers all around Europe, and together with Beatus, we contribute with know-how of technology and extensive experience of product performance. So here in the map you see our places where is our productions, and we are not, and this slide describes about all kind of products what we are doing. We are not like a sawmillers. We have in our basket all type of various products like decking boards, claddings, different colors, roof lats or buttons, construction timber, of course, and do-it-yourself products which are partly treated and barcoded and so on. Here in slide you see also our sales per markets, which is a big part traditionally UK, but also France. Sweden is Beatus, Iceland and Northern Europe. And also what we are expanding more and more, it's the Baltic states, because we are in Latvia, we're in the middle. We have a very great cooperation with do-it-yourself stores there, and also we are aiming expansion more in Eastern Europe, like Poland, Czechs, and so on. Market and trends. It's clear that the market of wood protection and treatments is changing due to sustainability trend. And as Peter mentioned, wood construction material is increasing as well. Then demand for alternative treatments for long durability. And our primary market segments are builder merchants and do-it-yourself. And as a new second is project sales. So main target for us is the building merchants and do-it-yourself stores compared to the sawmills, which is more kind of more standardized products and probably more focusing to the wholesalers like importers in the selling countries. So primary products is standardized lengths and dimensions. Products delivered according to call-off procedure. Possibility of direct delivery of standardized products to customer site. Special products according to specifications. Increased partnerships and education through the customers. What does this mean? We compare to the traditional sawmillers as a treatment plants, planing mill. We have a bigger basket of products. So we can target smaller building merchants who don't have the stocks, who wants in the same load all kind of different products. And that makes a big advantage against the sawmills for us. And also the same is for do-it-yourself. Market size and trends. Again, like I already mentioned it, the trend is that all the merchants and customers would like to be closer to the producer. And the European market is huge. It's about 1 million cubic meter a year. And where the big percentage is treated wood, depends from markets. Bergs today is about 300,000 cubic meters per year, but this means that the potential for growth is enormous. And especially I would like also Linux we see as a great potential, not just Sweden, where the Bitus will focus, but also Baltics, which is quite traditionally same wooden use as Scandinavia, but just behind and learning. Also, big markets, France, which is for us, Bicolat is big market. And there is one point maybe Joni didn't mention. Linux doesn't lose color as traditional treatment. So traditional treatment looks very similar, brown, greenish, but within a year it's gray. Then Linux is brown for, I don't know, 15 years? Perhaps. So it's more and more trendy that we ship Linux claddings to our factory in Latvia and use for the houses we produce for Scandinavian market and ship back again to Sweden, Iceland, and so on. Wood has increasing applications in construction, city and parks, as well as all kind of infrastructure. Greater requirements such as quality, durability, life expectancy, and certifications is required. Requirements regarding design and aesthetic values are increasing. And there is another trend we should mention, that demand for certification, for improvements, that for this is environmentally more friendly products are increasing all the time. People are not just happy with the traditional, they just need something, and they are ready to pay for it. Because of course Linux is much more expensive than traditional products, but it is also much more friendly. And that we have to bring that message and work hard to educate, let's say, customers for that. So yeah, this goes again, same future possibilities, develop new products and future brands, focus on marketing and engagement with architects and designers, develop aftermarket offering. This is, again, a lot of discussions that we have to teach and put the efforts about the treated wood, about all, what is it really. Create new digital tools that facilitate the customer journey. Be an active part of the consolidation of the industry. So, thank you for listening. Any questions?
Yes, Waltz, I have a few questions. You can back to the previous slide, just talking about the possibilities and so on. What types of raw materials is most suitable to use in wood protection? Is it pine or spruce?
In our case, pine.
It is pine.
But in many markets it's used also spruce.
Okay.
Just traditionally. Yeah. Even spruce is not durable, and you know, in England and then they have special tricks and marketing tricks how to do it, but pine is the real stuff.
Okay. We saw on one slide quite a number of large international customers. How is the customer base looking? Is it primarily large corporations that buy large volumes, or do you sell a lot to small actors as well? Could you please describe a little bit
we sell about,
about
let's say, 50-60%, 50-50. It's also a lot of small customers, which takes maybe one load a month or two. And this is our advantage, because we can also attack and offer small customers all basket of various products, which is maybe competition is not able to do, like sawmills, for instance. Yeah.
In terms of market-wise, are you able to sell everything you produce, or is there a greater demand than you are able to provide, or how is the balance looking?
Normally we can increase 30-40% easily, especially in the season.
Okay, that's interesting.
So we always fully booked.
And in terms of price, do you?
Because it's easy to sell something what the customer want to buy. Yeah. The problem starts when you start to sell what you produce. Yeah.
Sure. And in terms of price, do you see any there is an acceptance in the market for higher raw material price that you have to bring further?
Yeah, we've been through very turbulent times, and we are back again in turbulent zone with all the pricing, because due to all the COVID story, we know, prices being up to the roof, up to the sky. We never unseen prices. So now they are falling down to some new normal level. And it's not ended yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
but in terms of
we hope it will be still good demand also next year.
In terms of possibilities, you are optimistic about what Bergs can do within wood protection.
Absolutely. I didn't mention probably that we see also Bitus as our group's laboratory, where they are working hard with all the kind of investigations and with scientists, with architects and developing the product. So, and if the Bitus didn't have enough capacity, so it can be implemented, and we can do also investments. We can do investments and do the same product later on in Latvia too.
Okay, interesting.
That's the possibility.
Any questions from the auditorium? In that case, I think we will conclude this part of the session, and thank you, Waltz, and you will come back later on after the coffee and talk a bit more about projects in the joinery segment. But with that, I think we take a coffee break, and what do you say, Peter, 15 minutes or 20?
We're back 3:15.
Yeah, so we will start again 15 minutes past 3, and I welcome the internet viewers back then also. Thank you.
Thank you.